Please be seated. Good morning, St. Bart's. My name is Beth Beall, and I thank you for opening your hearts to me today. I am aware that your heart, St. Bart's, beats around this world, that you seek to care for neighbors near and far, that you seek to embody what Jesus spoke of in our gospel reading this morning, to love God with all that you are, and to love your neighbors while you keep on loving and caring for yourselves. I'm the executive director of an organization called the Vida Joven Foundation. We are a ministry of the Episcopal Diocese of San Diego, and for many years, you, St. Bart's, have supported this ministry. You are part of the Vida Joven family. Vida Joven focuses on giving a home and a refuge to God's children south of the border who have been born into very hard places. Specifically, we fund and we partner with orphanages in Tijuana and in Ensenada. Orphanages where abandoned and abused children can receive the tender care and the refuge and the opportunities that they need. In 2024, we also hope to become a primary partner with the Episcopal Diocese of San Diego in opening a shelter for migrant mothers and their children. Refuge. I'd like to hold up for you this morning an imaginary triptych. And a triptych is a piece of art that has 3 panels. In our triptych, I want you to imagine that the first panel over here depicts God's people in ancient Israel, our spiritual ancestors. And as we look at that panel, I want you to imagine that they are praying the words of the psalm that you prayed and sang this morning, Psalm 90. Lord, you have been our refuge from one generation to another. Now, in this scene, the ancient Israelites were living in exile. So they were far from home. They were in a place that for them must have felt cold and scary. They must have felt lost. And in that place, their affirmation of faith was, Lord, you are our refuge. You are our safe place, God. You are our hiding place. You are our help. You are our home. You protect us, Lord. You are the safety and the solace and the refuge that we need. Now let's shift our gaze. Let's look at the panel over on this side. We're no longer looking at the exiled community of ancient Israel. Rather, the scene before us is situated in the modern city of Tijuana, Mexico, on a dark night not many months ago. And in this scene, you see a 12-year-old boy on the street at night. He's wearing a thin t-shirt and ragged jeans and sneakers that don't fit him very well. This child's name is Ulysses. You peer closer at this panel and you see that Ulysses is not alone. In one hand, he's grasping the hand of his 4-year-old brother, Roberto, and in the other hand, he's holding the hand of his 7-year-old sister, Samantha. These children are hungry and cold and terrified. The dangers and the terrors that seek to pursue these children on the street are real. Sexual trafficking, labor trafficking, hunger, filth, disease, and more. So you continue to gaze at this panel and you wonder, but why? Why are these children on the street? Well, you see that the children were being beaten at home repeatedly. never on their faces, of course, lest the neighbors should notice. But one night, 12-year-old Ulises couldn't take it anymore. He couldn't take the beatings, and he couldn't take seeing his little brother and little sister be beaten as well. So one night, this scared and angry and brave 12-year-old boy snuck out of the house with his little brother and little sister. And so those children found themselves on the dangerous and the terrifying streets. Because, of course, as you know, sometimes the dangers and the terrors of the streets are less dangerous and terrifying than those inside a child's home. In the first panel of our triptych over here, remember Psalm 90 proclaims the truth of God's protection. God, you are our refuge. You keep us safe. You protect us. Yet in this panel over here, we see children on the street. We see children who are being hurt by adults. We see children lifting their eyes and crying out, "Who is our refuge? Who will help us?" There is the truth that God is our refuge, and there is the truth of the terror that these children are experiencing. And so that brings us to our third panel, the central panel, the one in the middle that holds this story together. And I invite you, St. Bart's, to paint yourselves on that central panel. I invite you to become the heart of this story. For you know the truth of God's goodness and care, and you know the truth of life's terrors. You care about offering God's protection and refuge and safety to those in our world who are wounded and weary and terrified. You care about being God's love and light to those who need a refuge. By grace and good luck, by grace and good luck, a caring police officer found those 3 children on the street. He took them to social services, and in time the children were brought to one of our orphanages. Our orphanages. Our orphanages, for you are part of the Vida Joven family, St. Bart's. And at our orphanages, children are protected. At our orphanages, children are safe. When Ulises and Samantha and Roberto came to the orphanage, its doors were only open because people like you and throughout the Episcopal Diocese of San Diego and beyond, you step up and you say, "We care. We will protect you. We will be your refuge." In my heart, I can hear the children singing. God is my refuge, this I know, for you, St. Bart's, are showing me so. And the refuge you're offering leads to rest and to recovery for these children. I have seen children arrive at an orphanage with shell-shocked looks on their faces and with their bodies stiff from the effects of repeated trauma. And yet in time, in your good care, these same children are running around and laughing and playing with other kids and with the staff, for now they live in the refuge of God's love. This morning, instead of waking up on the street, 7-year-old Samantha is waking up in a loving orphanage, waking up to a delicious breakfast, perhaps scrambled eggs and fresh tortillas. This morning, little Roberto, that 4-year-old brother, he'll get to take a warm shower and put on freshly laundered clothes. And a top-notch caregiver at the orphanage will help this little cutie pie to comb his hair and to brush his teeth. And this evening, Big Brother Ulises will not have to run terrified into the streets. He will be safe and protected at the orphanage, at your orphanage. He will have cozy fleece blankets to keep him warm. He will have a soft pillow on which to rest his weary 12-year-old head. All through this day and all through this night, no harm will come to these children. All through this day and all through this night, these children will experience refuge and rest in the safety of God, the God whose hands and feet you are. Thanks be to God, and thanks be to you, St. Bart's. Amen.